But since Jupiter is Jove, the planet of joviality and fun, and do something, let's have more fun, let's have more, let's have another drink, let's do another dance, let's keep going. You know, we started making love, don't stop now, let's keep going, more. So that Jupiter is that more calling, let's go for more. It adds an adrenaline, or it increases whatever energy it's applying to. But if the misunderstanding is incorrect, it will increase an incorrect understanding and encourage a lot of experiences in a wrong way. And what you think, oh, I can get away with that. What difference does that make? But the difference it makes is that it will affect how much you can actually accomplish, whether you get respect or disrespect from Saturn, whether you get honor or dishonor, whether you do achieve things with your life or not, whether you get respect or disrespect. Wow. Whether you respect yourself or disrespect yourself. These are Saturn things. But understanding how much work it's going to take to do something, to actually accomplish it. Many people just go on a rush, but they won't finish a job, or won't finish it well, or do things. You ever had people that don't work properly? They hire them and they didn't do a good job? That's the Mars not working properly. The Jupiter, they think they can get away with it, but then the Saturn comes down, the job was never finished, and big problems like lawsuits and other things come up through Jupiter. Understanding and misunderstanding. Jupiter is your guiding light. It guides your Mars. And because it guides your action, it should have an effect on your values, on your ideas, and on your feeling of what basic needs are. But Jupiter is a package of how well you understand, whether you're part of a gang, part of a group, part of a team, part of a church. This is our group, this is how we do things. And there's a strong sense of, this is how it has to be done. You shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do it, you have to do it this way. So we can see Jupiter guiding in that way. But for ourselves, it's just figuring out what we can do. We travel, do we exaggerate, do we have adrenaline, do we not? Understanding and misunderstanding is Jupiter. And because it exaggerates actions, it can exaggerate wasted actions, it can exaggerate wrong actions. But who's responsible for your actions? If you do something wrong, who's responsible? That's Saturn. Jupiter is your understanding. So if you kill somebody or you hit someone and you're driving but you're drunk, Jupiter, excess, joviality, too much drinking, too much fun, and you go driving, I can do this, and you hit someone, they die, there's going to be heavy Saturn repercussions that's going to affect and impair. It's going to first prove your understanding incorrect to be wrong, and then impair what actions you can do until you paid off the karma. So paying off the karma is the afterthought of Jupiter, of understanding what you have to pay off because what you've done. But an alive Jupiter knows, oh, I better not do that. That's going to lead to bad karma. I'm going to have to pay a lot more for that. I can see where this is going. I better just do this. So it's selective in that way. Jupiter's a mystical planet, like the moon or like Venus. You can't say, here's the exact edge of it. But it has a very profound role. And when you understand someone's Mars and someone's Saturn, and then you start seeing the Jupiter, you can see, even with the signs, you can see the attitude you have. So you're trying to understand things according to the sign that Jupiter's in. You're trying to evolve those attitudes in your understanding, or your understanding is biased to those attitudes of the sign. And it can be biased positively or more commonly negatively. So we learn from experience. We learn from our adventures and misadventures. Jupiter is always learning. The soul always gains the experience of life. A good friend, a bad friend, a lover, a heartbreak. We learn from these things. So based on what good we've done, what bad we've done, we have an understanding that will encourage us to do something or to go this way or that way. If we just had bad experience, we've been raped or beat up or bullied, you have a bad attitude to things, and there was things, a lot of unfair things happen. When it's your turn to do things, it will be difficult for you to be fair. It will take some maturity, Saturn, to develop a good understanding so that you can be fair and not the same as the people who bullied you. So the puzzle, a very powerful, useful planet, but you can't see it directly. You have to work all the other planets, and especially Mars and Saturn and the Sun first, before you can observe how Jupiter is working. It's very difficult to observe someone else's morality. You can come to understand it over time to see they live this way, they live that way, live up to these teachings, they don't live up to these teachings. They may be a churchgoer, but they're not very nice in the bar. or it's a mix, some good, some bad, some things. So the guiding lines of Jupiter ruling Sag or Pisces, this is the principles and the morals, the kindness, the comprehension of things, and the making use of it for others, being strong, having good energy, and using it to help others. Wow, what bad is there in that? Unless you're helping bad people. If you're helping bad people, then you're going to get blamed too. So, no simple way to just say what Jupiter is. It remains a puzzle, but it's a very prominent one. You can't just say, oh, I got Jupiter in my second house. That's lucky. I'm going to be lucky with money. That's the first impression. But what it really means is you're going to get a lot of experiences, and you're going to try and understand what was good, what you get, and what you don't get out of it. You're going to be trying to understand that. So yeah, it's wherever Jupiter is, it's going to where you're trying to figure it out from by the sign. You're going to try and figure it against the principles and the categories of the signs. That attitude will come in to your understanding, and against that, once your understanding has picked up this attitude, it will encourage things that go in that direction or work in a certain way, and it will encourage Mars to go for it, and hopefully encourage Mars to see the value of being prepared too. It's trying to mediate between Saturn and Mars. So do you have a good understanding or a bad understanding of your dad? Was he responsible or not responsible? Do you have good understanding or bad understanding? You think your understanding is better or his is worse or what? This is all part of your Jupiter, and it affects what you do. Now, we can change our understanding, but it can evolve. We can develop and mature so we have a mature, good understanding. When we do that, we can be very successful in life. But if we haven't developed a good understanding, whether it's about sex, about relationships, about business, about anything, we haven't developed a good understanding of what can be done and what's responsible, we're not going to get very far with our life. For some people, if they're living on a Mars cycle, it's enough just to do things. Who cares what's right or wrong? Lots of gangs and lots of people get involved in that. Sooner or later, they've hurt themselves. You push too hard, you're going to get hurt. That's why did you get hurt? Why did you crash your car? Why you were angry, you were misusing energy, it blew up on you. No fair. No fair. It's Jupiter screaming out. But it's not, it may seem no fair on one level, but really, if you were able to look at it properly and think, add your principles and morals to it and take some time to contemplate this, you would probably see what was no fair was probably appropriate and had something for you to learn. And that you may have, if it was bad, it was something, you may have put out something wrong to begin with. Or you may have to understand that you don't put good energy out to people that aren't doing good things. We don't even think about those things as we're growing up. We run into them and as we mature. And we mature, we have more and more experiences to draw from to gain our insights. Heck, it used to be when I grew up, if you're walking down the street and see two people beating up on one person, it wouldn't matter who those two people were, whether they're policemen, good people, bad people, you would get involved because it's an unfair fight. If you didn't get involved, you have the guilt for not helping helping. Even if you lost, at least you helped. Nowadays, people see people in bad situations, people fighting, they just make it like it's something they take a picture on the thing and they walk away. It's not real. They don't have a good understanding about power and energy. We still have power and energy, and we're going to use it in our life. Yeah, you wonder if you're making yourself be understood. You know, I'm just creating more misunderstanding. But Jupiter's a puzzle. It's not just luck and good fortune wherever it is. It can be, more often than not, it's the misuse of abundance. You can understand, I can get this, but if you got it for the wrong reasons or you didn't use it right, or that, bad things can happen from misunderstanding. How many people do you know do things for the wrong reason or get away with something? If someone's going to drive home after they've been drinking and you let them, whoa. But who are you to mind someone else's business? What's responsible? Saturn. What's right? Jupiter. So this is the process of wisdom, understanding, guiding your experiences, and assimilating what you've done and trying to develop some understanding that fits to your experiences, and hopefully growing and learning as you go along so you get better. But the negative forces, when there's a negative force, Jupiter will exaggerate it, and a misunderstanding can lead to a fight, can lead to extreme actions that cause great sorrow and failure. Simple thing. You meet someone, you fall in love, you get pregnant, you marry the guy, you get pregnant, you have the kid, doesn't work out, you break up with the marriage, you have a single parent. You had an action that got you a kid. There's something to understand here. I got the kid, I got something from it, but do I understand what I have to do? Saturn. Okay, so it goes along a little while, you meet another person who comes into your life, loves you, loves your kid, and you figure, well, if they're loving my kid, I should have their kid too. So then you have another kid, then the second guy, and you have the sexual action, you have the kids, you have two kids now from two different guys, and it works around, it goes along, it is what it is. What's right, what's wrong, who knows? It's going along. If that marriage ends and you're alone with two kids from two different parents, you could be all alone for everything you're doing, and nobody who's going to come into someone's life who's got two kids from two other guys. That's not two other guys, that's four other grandparents. That's a lot of people attached to that energy. A lot of questions about what's right, what's wrong, who's who, who's where. There can be abundance, but there can be severe repercussions. Or if you meet someone else, they have a third kid, or a fourth, or a fifth. All the energies could be running around taking the kids from 3 or 4 or 5 different guys and 8 or 10 different grandparents. There's hardly going to be any time, and everybody's going to be judging what's right and wrong around this. It's going to be very complicated to get things done. So Jupiter has a tendency to expand and exaggerate things. So it can exaggerate it for good and be self-righteous. It can exaggerate for bad and be immoral or wrong. It can gamble too much. It can be exaggerating. Well, if you work hard for it, you'll gamble your whole paycheck and you got to go home to the wife and tell her I blew all the money. I thought I'd be lucky. Wow. So as you put energy out there, it's affecting other people, partners, other people. This gets complicated. And you can have severe repercussions of accomplishment, respect, dishonor, disrespect, failure. And Jupiter's trying to understand, why me? How come I was so unlucky? I just tried it and I wasn't lucky. I didn't get away with it. Well, getting caught with something, that you do something wrong and you get caught with it, sometimes that could be considered more right or better for you because you'll learn than getting away with something all the time till it builds up to something bigger. So Jupiter's always a puzzle. But very real, because if you don't get your philosophy or your principles right, it's hard to go further on your spiritual path without. I can be on my spiritual path, but if I'm not living right, I could be the preacher, but if I'm sleeping with all the young clients, that's not going to be something that's I'm preaching, but I'm not really living properly. Sooner or later, the gap in that credibility is going to come up, and there'll be repercussions.